Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my breakdown of the New York Football Giants. Now, if you're new to my channel, I just got one simple question for you. Do you want to talk football? Because if so, you're in the right place. There's this button right around here. See it, see it, see it. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Now, here's how my breakdown goes. I talk about what I like about the New York Giants. Then I talk about what I don't like about the New York Giants. But stick around to the very end where I break down the Vegas over-under and if I am going to put action down on the Giants. So let's start off with what I like about the New York Giants. First thing I like about the Giants is the youth on defense. I'm looking at Our Lads and ESPN, and if I did my homework correctly, there is not one starter who's going to be 30. All this whole team has got youth on defense, and Our Lads, it's interesting. Our Lads in both ESPN have Julian Love as a free safety. Our Lads has Julian Love as starting free safety and Xavier McKinney as a backup free safety. I don't think it's going to work that way. I think Xavier McKinney, the rookie out of Alabama, is going to be the starting strong safety. I think Love may be the starting free safety, and I think they're going to have Peppers playing a hybrid role. It'll be interesting to see how the Giants line up. But that's the impression that I got. If you're a diehard Giants fan, let me know. Did I get this right? Or is there some sort of mix-up here? Now, the thing is with Julian Love is he was drafted to play corner, but he's got all the tools and the physicality to be a really good athletic free safety. So I really do like this move, especially when you picked up James Bradbury from Carolina. Now, keep in mind, DeAndre Baker, I believe, is not going to miss any games. Again, if you're a Giants fan, you got some inside information, but to the best of my knowledge, Baker is going to play this year. If you don't know, he was involved in I believe it was an armed robbery. So there is some questions if DeAndre Baker is going to miss some time this year due to disciplinary actions. But overall, this defense, young, talented. Baker and Dexter Lawrence, first-round picks last year. McKinney, he was my number one strong safety. I thought he should have been a top 20, top 25 pick to get him early in the second round. He's going to be a day one starter, and even Our Lads has him as the backup free safety. I think he's going to be a day one starter. There's a lot of youth and a lot of talent. The ceiling is sky high on this Giants defense. It's just really a question of getting everybody together on the same page quickly. The second thing I like is hiring Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator. Anytime you hire a first-time head coach, getting an assistant with head coaching experience, I think is invaluable. But getting a guy who coached a divisional rival for, 10 years? That's genius. He knows the NFC East as good as anybody. This hire alone may cause a win in your season series with the Cowboys alone. And I'm going to talk about that here later on. But now, I do believe Jason Garrett's going to be a one and done. I think he'll be a head coach either in the college ranks or in the pros in 2021. But for this year, especially with what he did with Dak Prescott, this is a great hire and a great move. And here's the thing. I'm a Chiefs fan, and I can't wait for the Giants and Cowboys to play each other. So if nothing else, it makes for must-see TV. Third thing I like about the Giants is the offensive line improvement. I love the Andrew Thomas pick. Now, a lot of people didn't like that he went at number 4 overall. I love it, and here's the reason why. He's a day one starter on the right side. Out of all the tackles in the draft, I thought he had the highest floor. Here's a guy at worst, barring injury, is going to be an average to above average right tackle. And in 2021, he's going to be your starting left tackle most likely, and then you have some free agent cap space that you can fill on the right side, or if Solder ends up playing well and you want to restructure his contract, that's even better. But bottom line, the offensive line, mostly thanks to Thomas, is going to be improved in 2020. You got a young quarterback. Make sure your offensive line is in good shape. And that's the fourth thing I like is I had a draft crush on Daniel Jones last year. I had no idea he would go 6th overall, but I love this kid coming out of Duke. I was really, really high on him. Again, I didn't see him going number 6 overall, but I really like Daniel Jones, and I thought that if you are the Giants, you have to be excited about your quarterback. He showed enough last year, enough flashes, enough potential for you to get excited about him. Combine him with Jason Garrett, There was a reason Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick and not the 6th pick overall in the draft. And look what Jason Garrett did with Dak Prescott. Imagine what he can do with Daniel Jones. And am I saying Daniel Jones better than Dak Prescott? No, I'm not. But there's a lot to be excited about with Jason Garrett and Daniel Jones. And 5th, and finally, the number one thing I like about the New York Giants is Saquon Barkley is the best running back in football, in my opinion. No disrespect to Christian McCaffrey or who else would be in the argument? Are we still saying Ezekiel Elliott's best running back in football? I don't think we are, but most people say Christian McCaffrey. I think it's Saquon Barkley. Here's a guy who's 230, set every single weight lifting record when he was at Penn State, but every time he touches the ball, he is a threat to score. But he's 230 with power. This is without question. Everything that you want in a running back, Saquon Barkley has. I think he's a generational talent. If he stays healthy, the sky's the limit to how good this guy can be. I mean, this guy is otherworldly. Derrick Henry, I forgot the leading Russian leader. But Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, I'll take Saquon Barkley. As fun as it was to watch Derrick Henry last year run the football. I'm an old school type of guy. But for pound, I don't even know where pound for pound came from. Anyway, I'm just geeked up here. But just to recap here, the things I like about the Giants, I love the youth on defense. Lots of youth, lots of talent, lots of potential. Jason Garrett is your offensive coordinator. Genius hire, I thought, by the Giants. The offensive line improvement, specifically Andrew Thomas on the right side. I would not surprise me if he goes to a Pro Bowl year one. I think he's that good. My man crush, draft crush on Daniel Jones. Sky's the limit on this kid. It'll be interesting to see how he does this year. I'm really excited to watch him. And then, in my opinion, the best running back in football. Now, let's talk about what I don't like about the New York Giants. First thing I don't like, and I'm going to say this a lot, basically any team that has a new scheme I'm not going to like that, because anytime you have to bring in a new scheme or a new system, but this year it's exceptionally difficult without the mini camps and the OTAs. But you compound that with being a first-time head coach. Now you have to understand the Redskins and the Cowboys, they also have new head coaches, but unlike those two franchises, Riviera and McCarthy have head coaching experience. Joe Judge does not. And while Jason Garrett does have head coaching experience, when's the last time he's been an offensive coordinator? It's been some time. So being that any year this would be a difficult transition. This year it's exceptionally tough, especially being a first-time head coach. And New York's a difficult sports town. Granted, I think Jason Garrett will help ease that transition due to his head coaching experience, but keep in mind, he's now dealing with just being the offensive coordinator, and it's been some time since he's done that. So it'll be kind of an interesting dynamic. Again, any team that has a brand new head coach, first-time head coach, I am going to say this, but this year is exceptionally difficult. Even under normal circumstances, this is a difficult thing, but this year especially difficult. Second thing I don't like is that who's your number one wide receiver? Now, I do like Golden Tate. I do like Sterling Shepard and brain freeze. Sorry, Evan Ingram. I love them at Ole Miss. I just drew a brain freeze. So these are great players. I like them all, but none of them are a number one. And don't tell me, because I know Sterling Shepard signed that 4-year, $40 million deal. He is not a number one guy. He's your slot guy who's explosive. I loved him out of OU, but this is not a number one wide receiver. This is not a guy. Basically, when you have Daniel Jones going back on third and 7, let's just say 3rd and 7, any obvious passing situation, who's your number one guy? Is it really Golden Tate? I never really thought he was the number one guy, and Evan Ingram's always been athletic, but I don't think he's really your guy. So here you are, you got you're a second year quarterback, and you got a lot of youth. And what I don't like about this is that if I'm attacking the New York Giants, I'm putting 7-8 in the box every single play. I'm stopping Barkley, and I'm making this young quarterback beat me because I don't have a receiver or tight end on this offense. I got a double team. I'm rolling the dice here, and that's something that I really don't like. Granted, I unlike most people, I didn't think the Odell Beckham trade was as nearly one-sided as everybody thought. I like Peppers. I like the extra draft capital. But, I mean, you're replacing with Golden Tate? Is that what you're... I mean, I don't see it. It would have been nice if you had been able to either... Because this was a great draft to get a really good wide receiver. Granted, you got some really good players in the draft. I really liked the draft for the Giants, but you could have got a stud receiver. You didn't do it. I'm not saying they had a bad draft, but when I look at the Giants, there's really... I can play one-on-one coverage with these guys, and I can win. So, third and final thing that I don't like is I mentioned on defense there was no starters over the age of 30, and yeah, that's a good thing, but with the game on the line, who here on this defense is like, okay, that guy's going to make the play, that guy's going to make the key pick, that guy is going to make the key tackle, that guy's going to make the key sack, and I didn't touch base on this earlier, but there's not a really good pass rusher on this team. There's not. I'm looking at this defense right now, and I don't see anybody who I'm like, oh, you got Lorenzo Carter. I love Lorenzo Carter. He's not really a pass rusher, okay? And then you got the Sam linebacker, Kyler Fackrell. He's not a pass rusher either. This is a team that has almost no pass rush. All right, and then I probably should have split that up into two different things, but here's the thing I don't like is that there's not really a leader on offense or defense. I mean, Daniel Jones, he's a second-year placer replacing Eli Manning. There's a debate whether Eli's Hall of Famer or not. But bottom line, the guy won 2 Super Bowls. Daniel Jones hasn't done dick yet. So, I mean, you can't really say that there's a leader. Okay, you're down by 5, 30 seconds left. It's 4th and goal on 7. Who on this team's like, hey man, I'm going to make a play? Who do you turn to? Who's really the leader on offense? And let's flip it around. Let's say you're on defense. Which one of these guys is the leader? I don't see one on either side. I mean, I see a lot of youth. I see a lot of talent. I don't see a lot of experience. First-year head coach. So there's talent on this defense. There's not a lot of leadership, and there's not a pass rusher on offense. You losing Eli Manning was really big, but it was more for off the field, in the quarterback room. Hey, Eli, I mean, yeah, you get Colt McCoy, which I thought was a better backup quarterback than what the Bengals did. I think Colt McCoy would have been great in Cincinnati, but you are still missing something. So I'm the third thing, I probably should have put this down as third and fourth because I don't see leadership on offense. I don't see leadership on defense, and I don't see a pass rusher. So let's make that 3 and 4. No pass rush help. So to kind of recap, first-time head coach, it's difficult anytime, this year especially. So now you bring in a new system, you're bringing in a first-year head coach, and then you lose OTAs and mini camps. Difficult in any situation. No number one wide receiver. Some good number twos. Some good players, but there's nobody really scares you on this team, with the exception of Saquon Barkley. And so I'm attacking the Giants. I'm going 7-8 in the box all day long. Third thing is I don't see really a leader on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball. Losing Eli was, I think, bigger more for the off the field stuff than on the field stuff. But on this defense, who's really your leader? I don't see it. And fourth is the Giants don't have a pass rusher, okay? You have some good quarterbacks in the NFC East, but I don't see a good pass rusher. So those are the 4 things I don't like about the New York Giants going into 2020. Now, what did I say? I said wait till the end. I'll break down the Vegas over-under. The over-under for the Giants is 6.5, and I'm getting my number for William Hill Casino in Iowa. And right now, the over is plus 120. So if you bet over 6.5 wins, you wager 100, you win 120. The under is a terrible number. It's negative 140. Could this number drop to 6? Maybe. If you looked around, you'd probably get 6 somewhere. But right now, William Hill has 6.5 under his -140. Here's the deal, and I said this earlier. I said Jason Garrett. I was going to talk about him a little bit. I think that Jason Garrett alone going to the Giants could end up splitting that Giants-Cowboys series. I think Jason Garrett alone could add an extra win. And it wouldn't surprise me because the Giants got enough talent on this team that they might be able to sweep Washington. It would not surprise me if the Giants go 3-3 in this division. More than likely, it's probably going to be 2, but they could go 3. I wouldn't be surprised at all they beat the Cowboys and then sweep Washington. So that's 3-3 in the division. So I only need 4 wins out of 10 games in order to win this bet if I take the over, which is plus 120. And even if it was 6, I mean, 120, what am I looking at? -110, maybe even 105. I don't know. If the number changes, I'll bring you up to date. But bottom line, out of all 4 teams I've done so far, the Giants are the team I would avoid the most. And the reason why is this defense is loaded with talent. This is a very talented defense. It needs a pass rusher. It needs a leader. But there is a ton to like about the Giants. The offense could be great. It really could be great. I don't think it will be. I really don't think it will be. I mean, I would take the under, but I'm not taking -140. I'm not stupid. And if you're taking -140, you better be sure. And when you got a team that can go 3-3 in the division, they only need 4 wins. They only need 4 out of those 10. I don't like that. Now, if you're convinced that the Cowboys and the Eagles are going to sweep the Giants, take the under all day long. Take the horrible 140. Go ahead and collect. Me, if I had to bet on this team, I really would be tempted to take that plus 120. I really would be tempted. But bottom line, this team just isn't ready yet. I think this is going to be about 4 or 5 win team. But everything is set up for the foundation to be bright and a great future for the New York Giants. So listen, don't forget, if you haven't already, you probably already did, but if you haven't already, give me the thumbs up. Share this great video with your friends, and tomorrow I will break down the Miami Dolphins. So hey, I'll see you tomorrow.